It's a hug that's been 8 torturous years in the making.
Nice to see you.
It's really sad because I didn't do anything wrong. I was seeking for safety and they punished me for no reason.
Last month, Farhed Bandesh finally tasted freedom after spending a year locked in a tiny hotel room, just the latest chapter in his treatment by the Australian government.
First, I reached Christmas Island and then to Manus Island. I was there for 6 years and then they transferred me for medical treatment.
Late yesterday, Farhed got to greet his mate, Ramses Sabanayam, one of 46 people who have now been released from the same conditions.
Past 8 years, I never heard any good news for our freedom. First time, yesterday they said, you are released tomorrow. Just last night, I can't sleep. Today, totally I am flying.
I couldn't touch the freedom really because I was shocked, but now I can feel it. I can walk freely and it's really amazing time.
Their fight has been excruciating. After languishing for years on Nauru and Manus Island, more than 1,000 asylum seekers were finally transferred to Australia for medical treatment in 2019. But many of them were almost immediately thrown into hotels labelled alternative places of detention.
23 hours in our room. 1 hour is just walking, corridor. This is not natural life. This person jail.
There's a convenient excuse for releasing these asylum seekers now.
If they're demonstrated not to be a threat, then it is cheaper for people to go out into the community until they can depart.
Most of these people have already been deemed genuine refugees under Australian guidelines, but because they arrived by boat, the government is still refusing to permanently resettle any of them in Australia, with everyone now on 6-month bridging visas.
We need permanent home with 6 months visa. Is what we can do with 6 months visa.
Today I am free, but people is still inside the hotels. Please release us, everyone.
Their status still in limbo, these men have reclaimed at least some of the things denied them these past 8 years: freedom and hope.
I have a good plan actually for my future. I'm gonna make wine and also more than me, gonna make a restaurant. That's the plan. And we're gonna make it happen.
Former Socceroo Craig Foster has been campaigning for years for the release of our asylum seekers, and he joins us now. Craig, so there are still more than 100 people held in these hotel rooms, and as we heard there, we are talking about no sunshine, no fresh air for as long as they're there. Has the government given any reason for keeping them under those conditions?
No, not that I'm aware of, Waleed. You know, it's been well over a year for the vast majority of them, some, 18 months now that they've been interned in what they're calling, rightly, the hotel prisons. It's been a horrible existence for them, and as you rightly said, I've been speaking to so many of them who've become friends now over a long couple of years period, and I see every day, the horrible circumstances that they're going through, and, there's thousands of people around them who have just been trying to work every day to keep their hope up. And you guys would have seen all those wonderful protesters outside of the Park Hotel in Swanston who have made, a real noise down there, and been one of the factors in, a bunch of them, including my friends Moz Amini and Farhed Bandesh, getting their freedom.
Craig, do we know when or even if they'll be released?
We don't at this period, Lisa. What we do know is we expect some more releases. We saw comments in recent days from Peter Dutton, a Home Affairs Minister, saying that it was a matter of cost is why they're letting them out. Well, if that's the case, then they should all be out. They should all be in community, and every Australian should be, outraged at, the billions, up to $12 billion that we've spent on offshore detention to now, and in the current budget, over $1 billion for a 2-year period. Just for a couple of hundred people. There's 267 people offshore. It's just ridiculous. It's time to just drop this whole facade. It's been deeply politicised for a long time. I'm hopeful that we're starting to move past that now. And the reaction by Australia to all of these guys and my friends being free has been wonderful, because we're all saying now 8 years is just ridiculous. So it's the same for the Biloela family and all the rest of them.
Craig, the men who have been released have got a 6-month visa, which allows them to work and access to Medicare. But what happens after that?
Well, that's the great question. The most important point for them, firstly, is to, just experience their freedom. Despite the fact that all they've been given is just a short-term reprieve, and we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. So now, everyone has to start, that discussion. I mean, it just goes on, and it's beyond ridiculous. But the fact that they can now look Australians in the eye personally, rather than people like me and other advocates have to try and, translate what's going on through video or other means, now they can talk to you directly. And when they look Australians in the eye and tell us what they've been through, and explain to you guys and explain to every fair Australian, the way we treated them and what they experienced on Manus and how their friends died and how they've been locked up all this time in the hotels, I'm confident it's going to be so powerful that Australians are going to say, OK, we need to protect these people and accept our responsibility to look after them.
That'd be a remarkable conversation if it came to pass, Craig. Thank you very much for speaking to us tonight.
My pleasure.
I am so happy for these men, but to hear the numbers, the amount of money that has been spent over the last few years, and to think where that money could go in supporting vulnerable people makes me absolutely furious, and I hope that it doesn't continue.
And I think those conversations that Craig was just talking about are the very reason the government has been holding off this long.
Yep.
But they will be important.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.